My name is Priscilla Benjamin-Olaoye, and I am the founder of the Peak Network. Our mantra is building a mentally healthy continent. We believe that in Africa, we must help people develop mental resilience. As Africans and Nigerians and, Blacks generally, there is a common cultural bias that you go to pastors, you go to imams, you go to the elders in your family to talk about your issues. But guess what? The world has grown, and right now we're dealing with a global mental health challenge. So we believe as members of the Peak Mental Health Network that we can reach every single African with the message of lifestyle choices. So in our curriculum, what we do is to teach lifestyle modifications, things that you could do in your everyday lifestyle to improve your mental wellness. And in doing this, we're able to come up with 5 basic subgroups. The first subgroup is corporate. In the corporate subgroup, we'll go to corporate offices to teach members of staff how to live a mentally healthy life in the workplace. We have the Peak Network Education, where we go to universities, secondary schools, primary schools, and every other higher institution, where we teach these students how to live with positive mental health habits. Then we also have the Peak Network Media. We go to radio, we go to TV, we do the traditional media, newspapers, prints, and all of that, where we encourage people and teach them mental health awareness. We also have the Peak Network Religion. We go to churches, we go to mosques, and we adapt the curriculum to suit the language of this environment. And lastly, we have Peak Network Community. In the community subgroup, what we do is that we go to markets, we meet baales, we meet kabiasis, we meet the kings, both in the north, in the south, and all over. We go to estates, we go to streets. We just go to the streets and teach people in street language, depending also on the community in which they live in. We teach them positive mental health habits because our goal is building a mentally healthy continent.
Welcome, everyone. It is another great time here with me, Priscilla Benjamin-Olaoye, and here on the platform of the Peak Network. What the Peak Network is about, of course, has been introduced to you, but guess what? We're also very particular about drawing topics between, along gender lines and, along other areas that would benefit you and I. Today, we thought to bring to you the beautiful need for resilience. And that's the reason why we are talking about responding to bad news. We say that you do not prepare for war on the battlefield. You prepare for war before you go to war. And this today's topic practically brings to mind what how Hackmath described resilience. He says that resilience is having the capacity to prepare for, recover from, and adapt from stress, adversity, or challenges. So when we say that an individual is supposed to, prepare, we're saying that we want you to, be in a situation where whenever you're faced with that challenge, because you have taken in some mental arsenals before these assaults or before these situations happen, there is a tendency for you to come out better. I also, got interested in the word capacity. Capacity meaning that it's a desire for you to transition from head knowledge to actual practice, to practicalizing what you know. So we want to take you from that place of head knowledge to that place where you begin to practicalize what you have learned. And that's what we're talking about the topic today. And I am super delighted to be bringing to you a facilitator for the day. I'm going to give her the floor in a second. But first of all, I need to read her profile to you. Our facilitator today is Dr. Chika Okem Akwiwo. Honestly speaking, I am super delighted to have her here. She is not just a mental health expert, she's also a breast cancer survivor. And I'll have her join me on the screen as I read her profile. So Dr. Chika Okemakwikwi is the founder of the Breast Health Angels Foundation. She a doctoral prepared, licensed, and double board certified psychiatric and family life practitioner. She received her doctorate and postmaster certification in psychiatric mental health care from Bradman University, Irvine, California. She has a master's of science as a family practitioner from Walden University, Minneapolis, Minnesota, and a Bachelor of Science degree in Computer Information Systems from the University of North Texas, Denton. Dr. Akwiwo has over 20 years of combined work experience and has acquired extensive background in telepsychiatry, inpatient and outpatient mental health patients. Mental health disorders addressed included, but not limited to ADHD, anxiety, depression, PTSD, substance abuse, bipolar, insomnia, dementia, and schizophrenia. Dr. Akwiwo is also a wife, mother to five beautiful children, and a member of many notable professional healthcare organizations, including ANCC and AANP. She's also a recipient in many awards, both academic and professional, for clinical excellence and leadership in patient care. As a breast cancer survivor, and ambassador, she has successfully organized global breast health awareness and educational programs, empowering women to make their breast a healthy priority, or a health priority rather. You're welcome, Dr. Chika Okemakwebo. It is a pleasure having you here on our platform, and I'm super excited that you did take time out of your busy schedule to be here with us. And you look glam, by the way. You know, I won't miss that.
Priscilla, thank you so much for having me, and thank you for that wonderful, oh my goodness, introduction. Girl, you are too much.
Thank you so much for wanting to share with us. So you have the next 20 minutes with us to share.
All right. Thank you so much for having me, Priscilla. Thank you to the Peak Network. Thank you to everyone that is tuning in with us today. Happy Saturday. It's about, I think it's afternoon here. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, and Nigeria is evening for you. So bad news, y'all. Bad news is, when I saw the header she sent me responding to bad news, I said, well, that's one thing we all have in common. We've all been hit with bad news. And I don't know about you, when you hear bad news, your heart drops. You know, you're in a state of shock, because it's like a crash. You don't see it happening, and it just kind of hits you like a flash. You know, bad news ranges. There is, there's some that might just be a disappointment, but it is bad news, to like major things happening, to death. Whatever bad news is personal to us. So in talking about bad news, I'm going to share my story of surviving breast cancer. This is 10 years, y'all. 10 years of surviving breast cancer. To God be the glory. I'm still here, and I can share my story with you. And then I'm going to share my perspective, like, the mindset, trying to stay healthy, keep, mental wellness, that helps you go into a combat mode, that makes it possible for you to come out of it and tell the story. Then after I share my perspective with you, I'm going to also tell you the channels that empower my perspective, that kept me from from despair, that kept me from complete breakdown, that I'm able to share my story with you today. So jumping in, bad news. When I was 36 years old, about 10 years ago, I know you're all adding it up. Yeah, I'm 46. My birthday is next Sunday, so I'm turning 46. To the glory of God, I'm still here. 10 years ago, at the age of 36, I was hit with bad news. Like I said, it's like pow. It's like, like a flash of light. You don't see it coming. Bad news is unexpected. It's challenging. It's difficult. It's overwhelming because there's so many uncertainties with bad news. You don't know what's going to happen, right? So in my case, well, so many things have happened to me in my life, but I mean, I've lost brothers, I've lost my dad, but the bad news that I want to share with you today is my journey with breast cancer. So at the age of 36, my doctor called me to tell me the news. But before that, I wanted to share this quickly. That way, if there's something in your life that is like has been on your mind you need to do, that way you can get it done. So I went to my doctor for my usual OBGYN visit. My doctor is a 2-time breast cancer survivor, Dr. Jacqueline Walters. She's on the show Married to Medicine. And she said, she can go get your mammogram done. I'm like, I'm 36. Why do you want me to get my mammogram done? In Nigeria, I was like, this Oyibo people, why would people just leave us alone? Let us drink water and keep cup. What is it? She said, go get it done. You have nothing to lose. I didn't have insurance at that time. So it was really like something I had to add on my list of things to do. And then I was a nursing student at that time also. So you can imagine busy life, mom, then I was a mother of 4, nursing student, my mom. I had so much going on, like you usually do before you're hit with bad news. So I decided to make an appointment. I did the mammogram. Mammogram is a picture of your breast. After the mammogram was done, when they got my attention was when they said, come back. The first one was called a basic mammogram, but the second time is now diagnostic because they're looking deeper to find, what's going on, what's going on with your breast, in my case. So I went for the second one. After I did the first one, they said, come back. I say, that's when they started getting my attention because for me, it was a waste of time. What is this? Why do I have to? I'm 36, I'm young. I've heard about breast cancer before, but I didn't take it seriously. That's why I call it the familiar stranger. Anyway, I ended up doing the first one. By the second one, they have the radiologist with you because the radiologist is a person who reads the mammograms. They did the second mammogram on the left breast, the suspecting breast, and they said to me, there's some calcifications around that breast that needs further evaluation, that I needed to do a biopsy. A biopsy is when they take some skin and look, under the microscope, checking the cells to see if it's malignant, which is cancer, or benign, no cancer. So I went on, I did the biopsy, and then I got the call. You have breast cancer. It's funny, not funny, it's interesting that the number of times I've told that story, every time I tell it, I'm like, so that was my reality? Was it me that I had breast cancer and I'm still here talking about it? At that time, y'all, I thought my life was over. When she called me to tell me the news, the only thing I heard is you have breast cancer. Everything else she said was a mumble. Like my mind shut off, my ears shut down. I was gone. Like it was over, complete darkness. My husband picked me up, I was devastated. When bad news hits you, you have people, but you feel isolated. I was scared. I was so scared. I didn't know what the future held for me. And I started to think, as a mother, How about my children? What would happen to my children? Who would take care of my children? And all these thoughts create fear and panic and insomnia when you can't sleep at night. You know, you get depressed. I was down. And then with bad news, you know, in my case, things are thrown at you. For me, I had appointments. I had to make decisions. Are you going to have a lumpectomy or mastectomy? All these things you have to learn quick because it's moving fast. It's something that needs to be attended to immediately. So it throws you in a whirlwind of new world that you didn't know about. So I decided to have what is called a double mastectomy or bilateral mastectomy. My diagnosis was DCIS, which is a ductal carcinoma in situ, which means the cancer was early stage. So because it was found early, I had good options. But I was very proactive. I decided to have the double mastectomy. It was a personal choice. I didn't have to. I could have done the lumpectomy with radiation, but I chose not to do that because of evidence that it might come back. Since I already had the personal history on one breast, it could come to the second breast. So I made these decisions. I sprung in. I did the surgery. You know, I you know, the tubes, the whole journey. It was difficult. It was a hard place to be. But when I look back and I ask myself, how did I make it through breast cancer? How did I make it through a very difficult time in my life? And the answer was clear. Perspective. Perspective matters. Your mindset is everything. Your mindset, if you have the wrong mindset, you would fail because you fail from the beginning because you're negative. You have to be positive. If you're not positive, you lose. You lose from the beginning because it's all in your mind. It's in your mind. It's interesting that I didn't realize that it actually had a name, cognitive behavioral therapy, which is what we use for me as a psychiatric nurse practitioner. There's a connection between your mind, your thoughts, your feelings, your behavior. If you have a solid foundation, it's going to affect how you think and how you feel. It's powerful. That was the perspective I had, but I didn't know it had a name, and it pulled me through a time of despair. And let me share some of those channels with you. So my mindset, what made up my mindset? My mindset, it's a collaboration of my religion. I'm here today. It's hard not to talk about the fact that God kept me. I'm here today because he kept me, and I acknowledge that and return all the glory to him. In my moments of despair, my Bible was my best friend. I had daily confessions. From the time I wake up in the morning, I would say, good morning, Jesus. Good morning, Holy Spirit. No matter how bad that day looked, I would say, this is the day the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. My mind was feeding my spirit. I needed it because I was in a bad place. And then when I start to speak those words, it started to empower me, you know? And then when the fear would hit me, I would remind myself, he has not given me a spirit of fear, but of love, but power, and of a sound mind. When the anxiety and the fear and the panic start to overwhelm me, I have to speak. I have to speak into my mind. I have to go back to my deposits and withdraw. Without it, you go crazy. If you're going through anything so difficult in your life, if you don't stay plugged in, you would lose your mind. Absolutely. I had to keep my mind healthy. Fellowship, prayer groups, those things are powerful. Get plugged in. It would be beneficial to you. Podcasts. Now we have podcasts. It's even easy. Audio Bible. You don't even have to get your traditional audio Bible will help you. Plug in. Check podcasts. Who are you following on social media? I like TD Jakes. I like Joel Austin. I like people that feed into my spirit. That way you can grow your mind so that when it's time, you can withdraw. Music is powerful. Music. I always say that I'm Igbo, so I speak Igbo. I think in Igbo. So when Igbo praise and worship ministers to me deeply, I learned to use music to minister to my moods. So for each mood, I had music for it. When I'm crippled by fear, I start to sing. There's a song, my mother and I, that song was when I was way as a child. It's amazing. You guys, what you feed your mind stays. It doesn't leave you. It's like when the Bible says, train up a child the way he should grow. When they grow, they will not depart from it. You start to dig deep. I remember clearly the day I got all the news, I had started treatment. I came home, I took off my clothes and I just lay on the floor, crying, heartbroken, scared. And the song my mother used to sing with me that said, Atunegu gi kam nonyere, elela anya gburugburu n'ụjọ, n'ihi na mụ onwe m bụ Chineke gị, ga-agba gị ume, ga-enyere gị aka. That song said, fear not, I am with you. I started to sing that song and inside me, I started to feel strength. I started to see hope from a place of hopelessness, from a place of despair. I started to feel hope. Don't fear not, I am with you. I will walk with you. Don't look around in fear. I am here. That song, I would sing and cry and sing and cry until I had hope again and encouragement. Music is powerful when you use it correctly. The right music for the right mood. It's like the right message for the right mood. Foundation. Foundation is important, guys. Your background. You have, even if you didn't grow up with a solid background, when you hear messages like this, I want you to start to dig deep because it's what will help you. You need foundation on the word of God. Without foundation, you would be a mess. Without foundation, you can't turn your pain into a purpose like I'm doing right now. Women empowerment, talking to you right now. You have to go through fire to come out, to be able to tell the story. And if your mindset is wrong, you cannot go through fire. What is this saying? It said, smoked but not burnt. It's true. What else helped me? I had a solid support system. My family, let me start with my mother who raised me. My mother is solid. She's that kind of woman you call, hey, mommy, see what they said. She'll just look at you and say, let's take it to the altar. When you have that kind of mother, no matter the kind of bad news, no matter what comes, I remember when I had my fourth, my last baby after cancer, and she had a ventricular septal defect. She had a cardiac problem, and I called my mother crying. She said, "Let's take it to God. Let's take it to the altar." That is powerful. That is my foundation. And then my husband has been a solid support for me. I remember when I had the mastectomy and he would, give me baths. When I had the tubes, I had my hand like that. He would feed me. He would nurture me. He would protect me. And then I have sisters that are rock solid. My sisters stood with me in prayer. Amazing sisters. We have this solid link. We support each other, and they all play different roles in my life. It's so interesting, And then I have friends. I have good friends that have value. Who are your friends? Who is around you? You need to be vested in relationships of value. I have had friends that have been in my life 30 years, 30 plus years, even some recent friends. Find friends that share your perspective, friends that have your mindset, friends that empower you, encourage you, not people that pull you down, especially when you're going through a hard time. You don't need naysayers. You need people that can pour positivity, pour into your spirit, your mind, so you can flourish and not wither and die. So my support system was powerful for me. And then if you don't have that kind of support system, counseling. Because I feel like Nigerians, why we thrive a lot is because our culture allows like informal counseling for us, where you have friends. By the time you talk to your friends, you're talking to them and they're pouring into you. That's therapy. And there's nothing wrong with a formalized therapy. I encourage my patients that I treat, no matter how many prescriptions I prescribe or medications, I tell them, listen, you need coping skills. Without coping skills, you cannot make it. And that's where counseling comes in. It teaches you to rethink, to reshape, to reflect. That way you can embrace your reality and move forward. So that's very powerful. And of course, health, your health matters. Your diet, your exercising, you're eating healthy, if it's appointments, whatever you're supposed to be doing, don't be negative in the sense that, as much as I'm a Christian, I love Jesus, I'm not religious in a sense that I want you to understand that medical doctors are here for a reason. Don't be that Christian that would not seek medical care. So please do your appointments, whatever appointments you have to do. As much as you have faith that God will heal you, be there, go through the appointments. Physicians are angels on earth that are supposed to help us. If you don't stay positive, negativity will kill you. Negativity would cause you to have panic, to have anxiety, to have depression, to have post-traumatic stress syndrome, to have insomnia. People with mental health disorders is a result of trauma. Is a result of trauma that is not well managed. I mean, there's nothing wrong. And let me say this quickly. I'm running out of time. Let me say this quickly. Please, there is nothing wrong with mental health. Mental health matters. If you have mental health issues, please get help. People have high blood pressure, asthma, diabetes, they get medications. If you need help, please get help. There's nothing wrong with it. People need to stop this shade you all throw on mental health. Mental health matters. So what am I saying? My goal for you today is that you take away the power of positive thinking. It will make you win all the time, depending on your perspective. Thank you so much. I think I ran.
Whoa.
Went over.
That was amazing, Chika. That was amazing. My notes are full. Thank you. Thank you. That was beautiful. If you do not embrace positivity, negativity will kill you. That was super profound.
Thank you.
And honestly speaking, Chika, let me, I was saying during my introduction, I said that, I was trying to define, what HeartMath referred to as resilience. And, I was saying during the introduction that it is preparing for adversity or stress. And honestly, as you were speaking, you did reiterate that. So you're not just preparing for it, you're also dealing with it, and
Mm-hmm.
you are also adapting, to it. But a lot of the time when we talk about, resilience or being strong in the face of adversity, we're only talking about bouncing back. If you ask an average person what is resilience, they're saying, oh, it's for you to bounce back, right? But
Mm-hmm.
honestly, we're saying that resilience is more than bouncing back.
Mm-hmm.
It's also the ability for you to prepare for adversity that has not come yet,
Amen.
right? And ensuring that your arsenals are in place. We can go on and on, Chika, but honestly, let me quickly bring on, this amazing person who, of course, you met,
Yeah.
but also has, an amazing, amazing experience with resilience. And I want to quickly bring Mrs. Mrs. Lois John Ibro. She is the founder of Vintage Vessels International, a Christian non-profit organization dedicated to building women of influence and excellence. With a background of in mathematics and computer science from the Federal University of Technology, Mina, she is a certified family life practitioner and counselor who has been trained on mental health first aid. Her passion stems from a growing desire to bring healing to people who have been through traumatic experiences in life. With many years of experience in ministry, Lois believes in impacting people to become better versions of themselves. She understands that it is challenging to be a confident woman who can have a voice in today's day and age, and thus her desire to be a voice in her generation. You need to unmute your mic. And, honestly speaking, I, Chika, and I know that I really hope we leave this platform today, because it's really profound, when I hear Chika speak, and I know you as well, and I know where you're coming from. So yourself and Chika have not been people who, when you talk about responding to bad news, you're not strangers to it. You're people who've lived it and experienced it. So I'm just going to give you the opportunity to just share your story, and then we'll run this question panel together, with Chika, and you would answer some questions as well. Chika will answer some questions. But the bottom line is that this culture of God forbid in our culture, this God forbid, oh, you say, oh, to hear that somebody died, to hear that I have cancer, to hear that, we'll just keep saying God forbid, but we don't understand that the reason why we're talking about this is because you don't prepare for war on the battleground. As Chika has said that, what you feed your mind with stays. So I'm going to give you this opportunity to just share with us, and then we'll take the questions from our live comments, live audience watching right now.
Thank you so much, Priscilla. Thank you, the PIC Network International, for this opportunity to share my story. Thank you, Dr. Chika, for that very impactful session. There was so much for me to take from what you shared. Um, I'm going to go straight to the point and share a little about my own experience when it comes to bad news, talking about bad news. And she talked about the story of her illness, and mine is going to be about the loss of my husband and how it happened and how I received it. It was actually a, a good day, just a normal day, like any other day. The 7th of July 2014. I woke up on a very high note because that day happened to be my father's birthday, and went about my normal duties, got back home. Everything looked normal. As far as I was concerned, it was normal until the time I went to bed. But the interesting thing that happened that night was that I slept a happily married woman and woke up the next morning a widow. We had been married for 18 years. We had 4 children. I was 39 years old at that time, and my husband happened to be the love of my life. We had been through so much together and had finally found our bliss. We had 4 children, and it was a good marriage we had. He was a pastor. And that day, I came back home around 7 p.m., met him in the sitting room watching a movie with a couple of guests in the house. And he came, met me in the room, and told me he was going to drop them, just like in 5 minutes and come back. That was the journey that he never came back. And I woke up the next morning hoping to find him working in his studio because he was somebody that was always working at night. And I didn't see him there. I called his numbers, the numbers were not reachable. As I was trying to figure out what happened, I got a knock at my gate. It was a policeman. He was there to break the news of the murder of my husband to me. It was a very rude shock, and it looked like a dream. My husband and the father of my children was no more, just like that. I was led to the scene of the robbery where I found the body of my husband lying there lifeless. That's a picture that I can never erase from my memory. Words cannot describe the extent of pain, the anguish, the fear, the anger, the hopelessness that I felt as the realization of this loss and trauma dawned on me. I actually felt that the end had come for me and the children. I formed so many theories in my head about what had actually happened. I felt very insecure. I needed all the answers. Not many days after, I met face to face with the man that pulled the trigger on my husband, the killer of my husband. He had no reason. He only wanted his car. He said my husband was actually practically begging for his life when he pulled the trigger on him. But he didn't know what came over him, and he took his life. As annoying as that explanation was, the truth was that my husband was no more. That singular event was capable, as devastating as it was at the time, was capable of redefining my life completely. It was capable of taking away my future, the future of my children. It was capable of keeping me in perpetual bitterness, unforgiveness. It was capable of messing with my whole mental well-being. But I refused. I gathered all the strength in me through the one that I believe in. I knew that God is capable of turning anything into something good if we give him the chance. And so I chose to give him the opportunity. Today, as I stand, I use my story to encourage people who are going through similar situations, that it doesn't matter how hopeless the situation is. Just like the first speaker said, your mindset, you must have a positive mindset that no matter what comes your way, if you decide to allow something positive to come out of it, it definitely will happen that way. And that is just a little of what I have been through. Thank you.
I'm all teary, honestly. And I don't even know where to start with this. And I know this is you just giving us an abridged version
Yeah.
of this story, Lois. And honestly speaking, is hurtful when you have to suffer for something that is no fault of yours, or
Yeah.
something, when you have to suffer for another person's irresponsibility, when you have to be in that situation where you cannot even take back what has happened.
Yeah.
And Chika, I honestly feel that what you said in that first session was super profound in the sense that, and I wrote here, a lot of times we say that we should look inside of ourselves. We should find strength. And I heard Lloyd say this. I heard you say this. That we should find strength from within and just yes. But you see, in that time where all of the emotions are running, you're not thinking straight, right? You're not saying, let me find strength. You're not even looking for strength. In fact, you want to stay perpetually in that place of pain because it seems most comforting, right? And if anything caught my attention while Chika was speaking and while you were speaking, it was the fact that you do not start, you know, finding strength when everything is fine. It is that for you to understand that you must pull through when it happens, you must feed your mind. And it's what you fed your mind with that then sustains you when the days of evil come. And
Yeah.
I'm going to throw this first question, and I'm going to allow both of you to answer the question interchangeably, starting with Chika. Now, there are people who, honestly speaking, um, do not even know that these are the things they should be doing in the time of bliss. And I will use the example of, I love to use the analogy of the of ancient times and the medieval times. In most of my materials, you will see that I always use this analogy because it gave a very interesting perspective to war. Because we don't fight wars now as it is, but back in the day, they fight battles and all. And we would understand that during the time of peace, that is when they are making swords. That is when they are, all the garrison, all the things they need to get ready, that's when they get it ready. That is when they train. That's when they are building soldiers. That is, they don't wait for somebody to be bringing his army before they begin to do that. And you did mention, I just want to, reiterate for people who probably didn't catch it. I just wanted to reiterate quickly that, you talked about you talked about finding what speaks your mental language in terms of music, art, support systems, and all of that. Chika, you did talk about that. My question now is for people who didn't know this and who've never thought to do this, how can they from now listening to this session, now that they know that those are the things they should have in place before bad news happens, where do they even start from? Where can they start from?
So if you recall, I said something when we talk about what you're feeding your mind, like getting ready for battle, getting ready for war. I said, where is your word coming from? Like, for me, it was the Bible, but now it's easier. Audio Bible, something that is so easy for you now. You just play it. You don't even have to be able to read, so it doesn't matter your literacy level. You don't have to be able to read. You just listen to it, and it feeds your spirit. you know. Then I also said, so some people are so caught up on social media, but you can use social media to work for you because that's one thing everybody's on. Are you on Instagram? Are you on Facebook? Who are you following? Are you following the Pick Network? People that can bless your mind, people that can teach you how to go from despair to a place of hope, or hopelessness to hope. People that can empower you with the go-tos on how to build your mind and your spirit ready for warfare, for battle. So your following is important. I like Joe Austin. I follow him. I like T.D. Jakes. I follow him. Who do you like? Follow people that can impact you positively, not negatively. It's very important. Surround yourself with people that have the same mindset and perspective as you do, because they will help build you up now. And then when you're going through fire, they will be there to encourage you. You can withdraw from all the deposits. That way, when you go through fire, you don't come out burnt.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I want to throw this question. You know, I'm going to spin this question around before I get to Lois. You didn't mention the fact that we have formal support and informal support. I want to ask you, because I hear a lot of people say, I don't have good friends. I've tried to be good friends with people, but I've not found people who are loyal. So when you're asking me to look for a support system and find good friends, and you are talking about having friends of over 30 years, how can they begin to create this healthy support?
Okay, so this is some bitter truth. Look within yourself. We're a reflection of ourselves. If you're struggling to connect with people, see, like minds connect. If you're struggling to connect with people, it's kind of like you're looking for, you know, you're here and that's what you're attracting, and you're looking for somebody that is not attracted to you, in the sense that you're a reflection. You're a reflection. How do you change that? Start with you. It starts with you. We're in a society where we don't like to look inward. We're in that society now where everything is, we blame everything else but ourselves. This is time for some honest truth. Look inward first, because you're attracting people that are like you. Start to rebuild your mind. Start to rebuild your mind. We discussed the channels, you know, the audio Bible, the music, the foundation, friendship, support system. Start to rebuild your mind. Join groups where you can learn to reflect, because you are what you reflect. I have had friends for 30 years because I'm a sister. I am your friend. And I want to believe that I'm vested, and these people are vested in a relationship with me because we reflect off of each other.
So if I'm loyal, I will attract loyal people.
Absolutely.
If I can be there for people, I will attract people who will be there for me.
Absolutely.
Right. Let me throw this back to Lois. Honestly, I also hear people then say that I have experienced betrayal again and again and again. What do I do if I'm somebody who, because I know that I will need people. In my time of crisis, I cannot survive alone. And this is what happens with Eskimos. The secret with Eskimos is that they know that they live in a cold place. So they do not travel alone. They always travel in packs. They sleep together. So what if I have a sleeping bag? Let us sleep together so that we all stay warm together, right? But we then hear people say things like, I have been beaten. They will tell you their betrayal stories. How would you encourage Lois? Because I know you run a support group for widows. And this is you saying that I know that I'm still in my own pain, but I still want to share. I still want to, open my heart to help people that are also suffering. So, but here you are willing to trust other people in the group enough. So how do you begin to redevelop this trust after you have been, stabbed in the back and you've experienced betrayal?
Okay. Before I respond to that, I still want to reiterate that the best person that you need in times of trauma, from my own personal experience, is yourself.
Hmm.
And that is why it's very key to have a strong foundation, like Dr. Chika said. You really need to have, because at that particular time, you are not looking for somebody to counsel you, somebody to speak to you. What speaks to you is what you have actually gathered in your mind. Do you understand? So you really need to a kind of, in times like this, in our culture here in Africa, when things like this happen, you hear people saying, "It's not my portion, God forbid," and so on and so forth. But the truth is, we have to learn to be practical. We have to learn to, well, no matter how much you confess, certain things you will still have to face. So you have to kind of build a kind of reservoir inside yourself. Because I tell you the truth, the people that you actually feel tomorrow will be there are the ones that will be the first to walk out of your life. And I'm talking with all sense of responsibility from my own experience. People I felt would be the ones to hold my hands were the people that left. One of the greatest friends I have had is myself. And the things that have helped me are the things that I had put inside of me before that situation happened. However, God will still put the right people around your life.
Mm-hmm.
God, and you will have to open your heart and accept these people.
Mm-hmm.
I remember during my time, there was a lady who walked in. She was also, the Bible says that from the comfort you have received, comfort others also. She was also widowed and she could relate to my pain. Several people will walk in and say all sorts, but there was something this lady said that lived with me and is still living with me till today. Why? Because she was there. She has been there. She understood exactly why and what I was going through at the time. That's why I encourage people who are going through one traumatic situation. It's not just about you. God is actually preparing you for the next person. God is,
Absolutely.
yes, God is trying to work you out to be a source of comfort to somebody out there. So let it not just be, be about yourself. Find purpose in that pain and be a blessing.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
Finding support groups, like she said something that, I wanted to expand on.
yeah,
Finding a support group is powerful
yeah,
because you can connect with women or people in that support group that have walked your journey. Like me
exactly.
now, I belong to several breast cancer groups,
Yeah,
and there even the days you feel like your story is ending, you hear somebody else whose own is so, you're like, oh God, so mine is not so bad. Or you hear somebody who shares some insight on how they dealt with a
mm,
particular mood or something that you're going through, and you get perception.
yeah,
You're able to be like, okay, that's what I'm dealing with right now. Okay,
yes,
I hear
yes,
you. I can use that. So
yeah,
support groups are powerful. They're
yeah,
powerful. And I think even as a culture,
mm,
that's something I think we need to, like, instead of this, like you said, God forbid, it's not my portion, and that's secrecy we share. You don't tell anybody anything. Everybody's
Don't
struggling.
laugh at me.
We're struggling. Because and then because of the way our culture is, say that one, don't talk to them. Oh, didn't you hear what happened to her yesterday? Please.
mm,
We're such
yeah,
gossips, and
mm,
because of it inhibits us from connecting and sharing
yeah. And
and
being a
sharing.
blessing.
There's relief, there's healing when
Mm,
you share, and that culture binds us. We can hide, Chineke.
Mm,
We can hide. You're dying,
mm,
you're hiding
mm.
because of cultural obstacles, limitations. People will talk about you. We can talk, but it's better for them to talk about you than for you to die silently.
exactly.
The last time we had a walk, we do the global breast cancer walk. Our theme was silence is deadly. Speak
Mm,
and live.
mm,
Speak.
and
The
live.
truth will set you free.
Amazing. Amazing, amazing. Unfortunately, our time is up. I saw a lot of live comments coming on. I saw questions, and I think we will answer the questions on the page. I
Okay.
would answer the question on the Pick Network NG page, the Facebook group. We would answer the questions there. But I'm going to allow you to give your last words. Let me start with Mrs. Ibro, Mrs. John Ibro. Please give us your what do you want to leave with those who are watching right now and those who will still watch later.
I want to encourage somebody out there. You may not necessarily be going through anything, and I just want to prepare your heart right now. Whatever you face, I want you to remember, always remember that there's a purpose. There's a purpose. And God can never leave you on your own. He will always find purpose out of whatever pain that you are going through or that you may go through. So I want you to trust God, trust in His ability to help you through. Yes, like I said, you may not be going through this right now, but I just want to encourage you. Trust God. Just trust Him. He knows how to bring beauty out of whatever ashes that you may have to go through in your path in life. And there's nothing, no part of your life that is wasted. He has a purpose. My prayer is that God will strengthen your heart even as you have listened to this. God bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Dr. Kiko, what's your parting shots?
So, like I said, silence is deadly.
Hmm.
Speak and live. Connect with people that empower you, people that encourage you. And I feel like this time, it's a wonderful time because even out of COVID, think about it, as something as negative as COVID, people are resting, reinventing themselves. And this whole women empowerment movement, I love it. I love it. When we started Breast Health Angels Foundation 5 years ago, our vision was women empowerment. And that's why when people like Priscilla say, Chika, come on, I'm like, yes, join forces. Together we win. Together we win. A positive mindset is a win-win situation. Like she said, you have to go through your journey in order to be a blessing to somebody else. In our case, mine was pain to purpose. No matter what you're going through right now, this is not the end. This is only your beginning. You can rewrite your story, but you
Amazing.
gotta win. You gotta be here.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. I want to say thank you to both of you. Thank you so much for sharing yourself with the world, for
Amen.
giving other people the opportunity to know that you can actually be diagnosed with a terminally, uh, 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 um, um, a terminally, a terminal case,
Mhm.
but you can still pull through it. There is a life post that news. So post bad news, there is a life that is actually existing. However, you are the one to determine what that life would be. Lois decided to forgive few days after she was face to face with the person who pulled that trigger. But she said she knew that she had the choice to either allow the look on his face and his action to determine the course of her life, to determine the future of her children. But she chose not to. She did not receive that ability from the moment she looked at him in the eye. That has been something she's been building, before the situation happened, unconsciously, right? And it is my pleasure to tell you that we are going to be having different topics every week. Our next event is next week, Saturday. And we will be talking about this topic. Help! I am not coping. Because now, so we're saying that even after one has received the bad news, we're saying that people break down because their coping skills have failed them. So you listen to all of these things, but some of you are in a situation where you have lost a loved one, you have terrible things that happen to you, but you're not moving on, you're not coping. Next week, we will be talking about that topic, and it's happening on the 15th of August at 6 p.m. right here on this channel as well. And then the Saturday after, we will be talking about this very interesting topic. That's the 22nd of August. What I was not told about the ego. I'm hearing a lot of news flying all around that, oh, I'm married to a narcissist. I'm married to a narcissist. I'm married to a narcissist. I'm married to someone who does not care about me. We want to teach you in 2 Saturdays to come. What really is the ego? Is the ego self-pride? You say, oh, men are egoistical. These things there are myths. We want to bring you a little into the world of psychology and teach you what really the ego is and what the function of the ego is, so that it will help you to, work better with people when it comes to your relationships. You heard Dr. Chikakwiku talk about the fact that it's very important for you to start within yourself and, build those relationships. But a lot of times, because we don't understand how the ego works, we have misinterpreted the roles of the ego. We're not able to build strong connection with people because it's very easy for us to walk away, because in that balance we say that our ego has been bruised. We want to teach you what really the ego is and what you do not know. Trust me, you don't know a lot about the ego. You don't know that the ego is even a structure in the mind, and we will teach you all of this. So these are the next 2 events coming your way. Let's take this last announcement and then we'll call it a day. Please stay tuned.
Hey, the Peak Mental Health Network is recruiting volunteers. Are you passionate about people's emotional health? Are you passionate about teaching people how to live healthy lifestyles, especially lifestyles that will contribute to their mental wellness? We therefore are encouraging you to come in for our Train the Trainers course. And guess what? It is free of charge. We do not charge any amount. So we encourage you to come in for our Train the Trainers course, where we take you through our curriculum and then you become a mental health ambassador. Do you think you can take this message to other parts of Africa aside where you live? Then we'd encourage you to come join this train as we take this message of mental wellness to the continent. Our mantra is building a mentally healthy continent. Welcome.
Thank you so much. There is no in between. You can't be in between positive and negative. You are either positive or negative. And in Dr. Chikakwiku's words, she said that if you do not embrace positivity, then negativity will take over you. We'll send snippets of what we learned today we'll broadcast it. We'll send it to every single person who stayed on this channel, and for those who will still watch. Thank you so much for joining us. See you next week Saturday. Bye-bye.